I've wanted to record this episode for a while, but I have been incredibly busy. I'm juggling different activities with commitments that I made to my friends, and school has recently started up. Yet, this rush of action goes against precisely what I discuss here in this audio essay. So, I decided to work on this episode anyways, essentially because it forces me to slow down. I can't research, think, and draw conclusions if I don't have a lot of mental space and the time to truly assess what I'm producing. Having done some prior research into this topic, I questioned if I should be doing everything that I am at all. Similar to the rapid pace of my own life, society seems to be advancing at insurmountable speeds. That's why meaning and tranquility becomes so important. It's our anchor when the world is hurtling forwards. Life Fulfilled aims to bring you those levels of peace through insightful audio essays by uncovering the world of philosophy and psychology. In this episode, we will delve into the art of slowing down and why taking breaks can be so essential in this fast-paced world. My name is Alina, and welcome to the beginning of the rest of your life. Blink, and you'll miss it. Sound familiar? This is exactly what society pushes us to think. Do not stop, do not hesitate, or life will fly by you. In other words, keep working until you die. You will fall behind if you rest. However, when we examine this notion, it doesn't make a lot of sense. How can we enjoy the benefits of our effort when we never stop to appreciate it? By working without any breaks, we miss the small moments, which is arguably what life is all about. We become hyper-focused on results and reliant on success to feel fulfilled. But this leads us to run even faster through life. It's a terrible, mind-numbing cycle. In the end, we may have a greater degree of success, but to what avail when we can't properly enjoy it? In order to understand what is truly happening in our lives, we have to slow down. By quieting our minds, we start to notice things that we never did before. We can become filled with appreciation for the small moments, as opposed to constantly wishing for more. Understand that even when we have monetary success, we need the time and mental freedom to reflect upon it in order to feel understanding and gratitude to a deep extent. Life is more than just a means to an end. You won't miss the world if you stop. In fact, you'll miss its beauty if you're constantly on the run. What is life if not appreciated? As Billy Joel says, slow down, you crazy child. There is no rush to the end when all we're here to do is feel and experience every moment. Life won't run away from you. It's here, surrounding you, within you, filling every crevice of what lies in front of you. You just have to look. The sweetest things in life are free and there, right before your eyes, is a lyric in Mac Davis's song, Stop and Smell the Roses. Beauty is always present. We tend to overlook it, but if we take the time to truly observe our surroundings, we will bear witness to its enthralling intricacies. There is something quite magical in slowing down, best described in Taoist philosophy. Lao Tzu is often credited as the founder of Taoism, but we're unsure if he ever really existed. In fact, his name roughly translates to Old Master, indicative of the possibility that he was simply a myth. However, he was said to have been an ancient Chinese philosopher, estimated to have lived in around 500 BCE. He was known to have been a senior contemporary of Confucius. As the stories go, Lao Tzu worked as a record keeper in the ancient Zhou dynasty. He witnessed life in the Zhou courts and saw it to be filled with frugality and corruption. Although he was highly respected, he had enough and decided to leave society. And so he did, riding a water buffalo to the northwest border, separating China from the rest of the world. However, the officer in charge of the border crossing recognized him and requested Lao Tzu to write down his wisdom. This is where he was said to have written the Tao Te Ching, a text containing around 5,000 Chinese characters. This book contained learnings on balance, life energy, and virtue. After this, nobody knows. Lao Tzu vanished from history forever. The Tao Te Ching, however, went on to become the foundational text for Taoism. Although it was probably written by a plethora of philosophers and scholars over time rather than by Lao Tzu, it still holds an incredibly powerful message to all. Slow down. This has truly lasted the test of time. Lao Tzu disagreed with the dominant society, just as we may find faults in our achievement society. He wanted to connect to life's energy, and we may have the same desire. It's incredible that the Tao Te Ching is still important, if not even more important to society today, now that life is overflowing with excess and distraction. Lao Tzu even describes a means in which to slow down, which he calls Wu Wei. Roughly translating to non-action and not doing, Wu Wei shows us a way to get in touch with the energy and way inherent in life, which Lao Tzu refers to as the Tao. Imagine this. Life is an immeasurable river. It's vast and chaotic at times, but there will always be a current. Now, imagine that you are swimming in this river. If you're trying to swim upstream, you'll soon realize that you're using much more energy than needed. You could very well stop swimming, and the current would move you right along, without any resistance. This current is the Tao, the unquantifiable way of life. And you can either swim upstream by forcing things to happen, against the Tao, or let go and connect with the Tao, enjoying the beautiful scenery around you. In this way, practicing non-action gets you to where you were meant to go, and it does so with little effort. I'm not saying to give up on anything. I'm saying that it is unnecessary to force results. Allow life to play out in the way that it was meant to, and this will happen without effort, almost intuitively. The secret to living to the highest extent may not be filling your time with endless activities. It could just be quieting your mind and connecting with the nature of life. People often say, the mountains whisper secrets to those who dare to listen. The Tao is always present, through nature, energy, and life. You can connect to it if you're truly listening. And what better way to listen to the world than to be present in every moment, to slow down and truly appreciate the world around you? Lao Tzu says, when nothing is done, nothing is left undone. The world is won by those who let it go. By trying to control circumstances, you lose all of it. Essentially, things happen that you may not like. Possessions can be taken away. You can lose jobs, relationships, and even people. And when you're constantly trying to control these things, you'll feel overwhelmed and lost when things don't go your way. However, if you can maintain a level of detachment, you won't be so heavily affected by any changes in the external world. In other words, when you're connected with the Tao, outside circumstances don't matter. Life itself is your fulfillment. Breathing deeply, having your heart beat, feeling the warm embrace of the sun, is this not all you need? Regardless, many people get tripped up. We want external things. Success, money, relationships, who wouldn't desire it? But this leads us to rely on external things in order to maintain our satisfaction. Not only is that unsustainable, but desire itself is a reminder of what we lack. Robert Greene, the author of the best-selling book 48 Laws of Power, says, one of the perverse parts of human nature is that we always desire what we don't have. We look on the other side of the fence. The grass is always greener, the neighbor has a better car, their children are better behaved. Desire naturally reminds us of the things that we are missing. And since we want what we don't have, we will never be satisfied. Not to mention, society is constantly comparing our efforts to that of others, scrutinizing how we spend our time. We feel less than when we see everything that other people are doing. In this case, that desire to be more deprives us of our self-image in addition to our contentment. Another point to be made is that desire seems to be endless. As soon as we gain an object of our desire, we desire something else. Imagine you worked for years to buy your dream car, a BMW M8 competition. You feel so incredibly happy until someone who lives by you gets a Ferrari. Or have you ever liked someone and lost feelings as soon as they reciprocated that sentiment? Or in other words, as soon as your desire was fulfilled? Desire is a killer of contentment. Likewise, Arthur Brooks, Harvard professor and self-proclaimed happiness expert, says that satisfaction can be equated to what you have divided by what you want. Sure, more possessions can make you more satisfied, but the biggest impact on the number will come by changing the denominator. Decreasing what you want will bring you to the highest number. In other words, you will be more satisfied when you want less. Similarly, Lao Tzu uses Wu Wei to express action without desire and attachment, rather than not doing anything at all. We should accept whatever happens as what was meant to be, and trust that life is showing us something that we must see. In acting this way, with no expectations, we find joy in the things we do rather than the outcomes we receive. There is no greater calamity than indulging in desire. There is no greater guilt than discontentment, and there is no greater disaster than greed. Lao Tzu. Desire breeds more desire, and ultimately this leads to dissatisfaction. You have everything that you need, and you are in a spectacular world, filled with beauty and grace. To want more may mean forfeiting the proper acknowledgement of what you do have. When people aren't content, they seek more, ultimately disrupting their peace and severing their ties to the Tao. Simplicity is the answer here. With fewer possessions, your energy can be put towards being attentive and grateful for everything that you do have. Too many things and you can't properly appreciate them all. If we think of a celebrity like Kim Kardashian, who has maybe 8 luxury cars, a Honda Civic probably won't mean much to her. It wouldn't signify anything. But imagine the happiness that the Honda could have on a poorer family with young children when it's their first time even having a car at all. The whole family would be ecstatic, overjoyed. Things mean more when you have less. When you practice having less, you can become more grateful for all that you do have. And you will be able to find a use in everything, rather than taking any of your possessions for granted. Lao Tzu says, "He who knows contentment is rich." It doesn't matter what you do or do not have. If you are content, you have already won. If you rely on achievements and success, you're always anxious of losing it, and yet you are always striving for more of it. You think that this will lead to contentment. Two means to what could be the same end, and yet one leads to independence and gratitude, and the other to fear and struggle. You can always follow your heart, but don't be dependent on the outcome. You will be much more satisfied if you simply appreciate the world around you and find the beauty in every moment. Because there is beauty in the quiet nights and the noisy mornings, in the relentless waves and the smallest stones. In every single moment, there is beauty. But only to those who are looking. Only to those who are stopping is it there. If you're sprinting, would you notice the intricate details on a patch of flowers that you pass? No. But if you stop and examine them, it'll be much easier to see and appreciate. As Lao Tzu says, nature does not hurry, and yet everything is accomplished. Society places emphasis on possessions and accomplishments, but we don't need it. We can choose to live in the way nature intended by allowing rather than forcing. Life is more than a series of sprints from one venture to the next. It is a beautiful view through mountains and forests and meadows, pulling you towards its beauty with a tug of a current. You can feel it if you slow down. The sun rises, producing a brilliant display of pinks, purples, and oranges dancing throughout the sky. Stars illuminate the night with their grace and power. Flowers bloom into arrays of multicolored splendors with scents as sweet as the honey that nature creates. Life presents us with inconceivably beautiful events. And yet, it happens without strain or strife. Miracles come without any resistance. Life truly happens when you don't try to make it. So slow down. Let the current take you. Enjoy the ride, knowing that you'll end up where you're meant to be.
I love you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to follow our podcast and our Instagram linked in the description. I had a lot of fun writing this, so please make sure to share it to anyone who you think will enjoy it. Make sure to join us in 2 weeks for our next episode on suffering and what it means in relation to life. Until then, keep living a life fulfilled.